Please be seated. Today we celebrate Holy Woman, Anna Julia Haywood Cooper, 1859 to 1964. Her date is at the hinge of Black History Month and Women's History Month, and her biography reveals the limitations of these arbitrary categories. She is a woman for any day and every day. She's one of my favorites, up there with Artemisia Bowden and Vita Scudder and Verna Dozier, women educators whose intellect and creativity drove them to lead unique and exemplary lives. Her biography: born into slavery in 1859, her father was likely her mother's master or her brother, or his brother. Born in Raleigh, North Carolina. She was an academically gifted child. She received a scholarship to attend St. Augustine Normal School and Collegiate Institute, a school founded by the Episcopal Church to educate African American teachers and clergy, and it's there she began her life in the Episcopal Church. After forcing her way into a Greek class designed for male theology students, Anna Julia later married the instructor, George A.C. Cooper, the second African American ordained to the Episcopal priesthood in North Carolina. Her husband died just a couple of years after their marriage in 1879. And after that, she received degrees in mathematics from Oberlin College and was made principal of the only African American high school in Washington, D.C. There, she entered into a controversy with the administration and was denied reappointment in 1906. Throughout her career, she emphasized the importance of education to the future of African Americans and was critical of the lack of support they received from the church. At the age of 55, she adopted the 5 children of her nephew. And in 1925, in her 60s, Cooper became the 4th African-American woman to complete a PhD degree. From 1930 to 1942, Cooper served as president of Frelinghuysen University. Her ideas: her book, 1892, A Voice from the South, by a Black woman of the South. In it, she writes, "I speak for the colored women of the South because it is there that the millions of blacks in this country have watered the soil with blood and tears. And it is there that the colored woman of America has made her characteristic history, and there her destiny is evolving." She claims the unique perspective of a Black woman. She was the first Black feminist theorist, and I would say the earliest pre-articulation of intersectionality. She criticized white feminists for overlooking Black women. And she wrote, "The cause of freedom is not the cause of a race or a sect, a party or a class. It is the cause of humankind, the very birthright of humanity." Her intellectual legacy is carried forward by womanist theologians and activists, including Kelly Brown Douglas, whom we will honor here next week. We celebrate her intellectual achievements, her PhD, her degrees, her books. We celebrate her moral achievements, her faithfulness, her principles, her care for her adopted children. I claim her as a forebear. She's a saint in my pantheon. I imagine the courage and sense of self it required to crash the Greek course and read and think and speak and write and lead educational institutions. It requires ongoing acts of imagination to walk in the shoes of any historical person. And there's a lot of research and study about Anna Julia Haywood Cooper. But today, I want to imagine Anna Julia Hayward Cooper exhorting us who are deeply immersed in the process of education, and those prospective students who are on the threshold of it. I hear her voice in the voice of the figure of personified wisdom from Proverbs this morning. Come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Lay aside immaturity and live, and walk in the way of insight. Come eat. Come learn. Now, in its original context, a female wisdom was calling out to men, I'm afraid to say. But let's expand this and imagine woman wisdom, Julia Hayward Cooper. Imagine her calling out to black girls and women of Cooper's time and girls and women in our time, including us. She sends out messengers into the public places, the streets and marketplaces, and calls them to feast in her house. Come, eat, come, drink, be good, grow up. Learning is like eating nourishing food. Food, like education, is nourishment, sustenance, and satisfaction. Such an identification between wisdom and bread was true for Anna Julia Hayward Cooper, who knew that learning went hand in hand with improving physical and social circumstances. Learning led to improvement in physical and social circumstances. This is one reason why in our liturgies, reading and feeding go together, word and sacrament. Wisdom and Torah was one of the earliest models for understanding Jesus. So imagine Anna Julia Hayward Cooper as Jesus, the teacher of Torah in the Sermon on the Mount, the one who offered the invitation, "Come unto me, all ye that travail and are heavy laden, and I will refresh you." The one who says in the Gospel of John, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me, and let the one who believes in me drink. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry. The one who believes in me will never be thirsty." Eat, drink, learn, be good, grow up. Let us hear wisdom. Let us hear Jesus coming out to find us and to invite us into formation, into a wise pattern, into a discipline, because that's what teaching and learning is. It can be heavy and challenging, full of conflict and painful growth. And amen. And it is, in the end, final satisfaction, the way of life, perfect freedom, perfect rest. Hear Jesus now, inviting us into his mission of freedom and release through learning, through bread, through word. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Let us give thanks to God for Anna Julia Hayward Cooper, who was inspired by the love of learning and the skill of teaching, and who wrote, "The cause of freedom is not the cause of a race or a sect, a party or a class. It is the cause of humankind, the very birthright of humanity." Amen.